Welcome to the Accessibility Guide channel. My name is Sean Jordison, and today we're doing episode 6 of Making College PDFs Accessible. In today's episode, we're going to look at Fullerton Community College. But before we jump in, I'd like to just take a second to ask you to hit that like and subscribe button. With that said, let's jump right in. Step 1, as always, is to visit the college website, and I can just simply search for PDF in the search feature. And the very first document here is using WordPress with Divi theme. Honestly, for this series, I am trying to find actual documents that are being used. So a lot of these files are actually pretty old. Why don't we go ahead and just take this points of interest and clarification architecture. All right. We have a fairly simple document here. Let's go ahead and download it, and let's open the file. The very first step that I like to always run is to open up the tags panel, and let's just review some of the content in here. The first thing I noticed is there are a bunch of blank tags, which tells me that this document probably came out of Microsoft Word, and it's definitely a bit strange here. That's okay. The first step that I'm going to run on this document is the auto tagger. So I'm going to go to View More on the Tools panel and then select Prepare for Accessibility and then choose Auto Tag Document. It's going to ask me if I would like to retag the document, and we do. All right, we now have a little bit more clear of a tag structure all inside of a document tag. So let's take a look. We first have a P tag at the top, followed by an H1 tag. Then we have our H2 tag, followed by a properly formatted list element. I gotta tell you, my favorite feature of the auto tagger is the list elements. Let's keep going. We have another H2, H2 list, H2 list, paragraph list, H2 list. I love that there's all these H2 tags in here. It makes me very happy. Wow, this is really good. So all of the questions were properly tagged as H2 tags. Our lists are properly formatted. We have links formatted. This is pretty good. I'm going to change this H2 to a P tag. We have another H2 tag. And then we have fall and spring. I'm actually going to apply a heading level 3 on these, as they appear to be section breaks for the different course offerings. So we're going to be consistent with our heading structure. I'm applying an H3 tag to all of these semesters. And H2, we've got a random dash in here. This document obviously was like thrown together pretty quickly, but that's okay. H2, it still needs to be accessible if it is on the website. So wow, that was like a speed run, but we have our headings, we have our list elements. Let's go ahead and open up the document properties. I'm going to select the menu button and then select document properties. And under description, we have our title, we have our author. I'm going to change the author to Fullerton College, and the subject will be, I'm actually going to repeat the title and the keywords. And then let's go over to advanced. Actually, what do I want? Initial view. So instead of document title, I want to show the file name. And then let's select OK. Let's go ahead and save our file. And let's run the accessibility checker one more time. Looks like we have a figure. That's strange. So in this content, something is coming through as a figure tag for some reason. So that actually can be changed to a P tag instead of a figure tag. Now let's save the file and go back to the accessibility checker, right click and check again. Looks like our document is missing a title. So this is one of those fixes that it's pretty simple. We're just gonna right click it and select fix, and it will apply the title that we had already had in there. Let's save this file, and then let's open up the pack checker. And let's test the file out. Oh, wow, we've got quite a few issues. Fonts, contents. What is the content error on this PDF UA checker? Text object not tagged. These are the page numbers. So let's fix this. I'm going to go into my tags panel, and at the very bottom, I'm going to right click, select new tag, and throw in a p tag. And I'm going to select that p tag with my mouse, and then go up to the options button in the tags window and select find. And then I'm going to change the drop down menu to unmarked content, and we're going to search the document. And I'm hoping that it's going to take me. Interesting, it's saying this paragraph is not. This might be formatting that it's looking at. All right. So I was looking for the page numbers, but now I'm curious. I want to make sure that the content is tagged. Seemed like it was. Yeah, it was definitely this paragraph. Okay, that seems fine. All right. How am I going to tag these? Let me go back to that empty p tag, and I'm just going to do this one at a time. So I'm going to select the one using my mouse, go to the options button, and then create tag from selection. And we're just going to do that on each one of these. Sometimes you have to get creative with how you tag the contents. There's probably many different ways to do this, but this is the method. And now that they're all in there, I can select all of the containers, right click them, and then change tag to artifacts, and then delete that empty p tag. Let's go back to the tools menu, and let's open up print production. So again, I do this a bajillion times a day, it feels like. This has to be done on every PDF UA document. So what I'm going to do is open up the single fix icon, and we want to embed missing fonts. It will prompt us to save the file. And then the other thing we need to do, open up Preflight again. You can only do one option at a time, is we want to do annotations. So we want to create content entry for link annotations and select fix. That's perfect. Let's close the window, open up Preflight again, and now we need to set UA, our PDF, excuse me, we need to set our PDF UA1 entry, select fix, save the file again, and now let's run it through pack again. We're so close. How much you want to bet structure tree? I'm going to get this span issue that has been plaguing my life. Yep, there it is. Possible inappropriate use of a span structure element. All right, well, let's just dive right in and see what we can find. So page 3, the bottom of page 3, we're getting our first error. Let's see. It's in this contents, but I can't figure out why it's a problem. I'm going to open up the role mapping really quick. Right click and select edit role map, and let's just see if there's anything in here. Oh, I see. Okay, so here's what we're going to do. I opened up the role mapping, and this might be the problem. I'm going to delete all of these, because then it's probably going to show what elements are actually causing the problem, because the pack checker is showing that they're spans, but I suspect that it's a different tag. So I'm going to save it, and then let's open up the pack tool again, and let's test it. Structure elements and role mapping. Yep. So all these non-standard types, that's what was throwing the problem. And we also have a title attribute. So we can fix that. So, all right, so that H1 earlier was actually a title tag that had role mapping on. So I removed the role mapping, and now what we can do is go through this, and the spans are okay, but what we want to get rid of is the style spans. So we can either just make them span tags themselves or remove them out of the content. So I'm just going to navigate through the tags panel here and look for these strange styles and change them to span. And I'm hoping that that's going to fix it. Matter of fact, I should save this file as I've changed a few of them and just check if we have less errors. So right now we've got 45 errors. I'm looking for 42 or less. Yep, exactly. All right, so let's keep going. This is going to work. But it's kind of painstaking. I don't think there's a way to change all of these tags at once, unless I was using the role mapping thing. But the role map seems to be incompatible with the pack checker because it's throwing an error on all of those. So I don't know if the video is going to show all of this, but I'm going to change all of that content that are in those weird tags to just regular span tags. I wonder if this is also something of the auto tag. Oh, you know what? I just realized there's a way faster way to do this. So I'm going to select style span, and I'm going to scroll and I'm going to find these other ones, and I'm going to hold my control key to select them. Now I have to be very careful not to misclick, otherwise it will mess this up. But I'm just visually scanning the tags panel to look for these funny tags. Funny being a style span or anything else other than our regular tags. So we had like 40 of them, so there's got to be a big chunk of them somewhere. All right, I have quite a few selected. I'm gonna right click, select properties, and change it to span. I'm just gonna type it in, and this allows me to change multiple tags at once. All right, now we have some sub tags. All right, here is so I'm just holding my control key and selecting them and visually scanning. I want to get as many as I can at once. Now, if I misclick, I'll have to click them all again. And I say that because when you are selecting like 100 elements, it's really annoying to have to click 100 more times if you weren't paying attention. Matter of fact, I think that's good. I'm going to right click before I misclick and change it to span. Select close, and it will update all of those tags. And then we'll start over. Paragraph span, that's a new one. We've got a style span, and I'm sure that I've skipped over some as I'm just visually tracking, which, I'm not a robot. Right click properties, change it to span, like close. Let's go ahead and save the file and test it with the pack checker. See where we're at. Oh, we're getting close. We still have 25 warnings though. It's still telling me that's a possible inappropriate use. Didn't I update the role mapping? Right click, edit role map. There are no roles. So why is it still telling me? Understand this. It's got to be because it's nested. All right, let's go to page 3, bottom of page 3. All right, there was a nested span there. Let's save it and just troubleshoot. I've got 25 errors currently. Let's see if this, nope, still 25. This has got to be of some kind. They're all 4. All right, well, I'm going to collapse the document tag, re-expand it. Let's get down page 3. Looked like the bottom of page 3. And for some reason, it does not want this content in a span tag. So let's move it out. I'm going to select all of the objects and delete these span tags. I'm going to do the same for all of this content. Same for this content. Oh, and it's important that we remember to delete all of those span tags. And let's keep going. I guess to be fair, there is a lot of strain. Like, why are all those span tags? There's so many of them. Keep taking this content. Oh, I misclicked. Now I got to re-click them all. Oh, I did it again. All right. I'm obviously going to just do a few at a time. That's a good example of that misclick I was trying to explain earlier, where it will deselect everything. We still have these. Lots of span tags. Get out of here, span. I got to figure out what's causing this problem. I legit don't understand why it's giving me a failure on this. But I want that beautiful green checkbox. So let's save the file, run it again, and voila, we finally got it. And it looks like we have a color contrast fail on WCAG. That's okay. And that concludes episode 6 of making college PDFs accessible. If you made it all the way to the end of this video, please leave me a comment about what is the most annoying thing of working in accessibility that you've come across. I always love opening up the dialogue to figure out where my audience is struggling. As always, I can be your personal accessibility expert. Thank you so much for joining me today, and I'll see you next time.